Jim Fawcett, Extension field agronomist for Iowa State University, cover 10 counties in eastern Iowa. And the year started out, one thing that was a little unusual is that almost all the corn was planted in about a week or 10-day period from the 1st of May to the 10th of May. And most of the soybeans planted in a fairly narrow window there too, about the 5th to the 15th of May or so. And I think things started out pretty good, but one thing that we've seen is some areas really needing the rain now. Some areas haven't had much rain since the end of June. And I think the heat that we had around pollination time and afterwards, particularly afterwards, has hurt some of our corn yield potential. I don't think we've seen a lot of pollination problems, but we just have seen tipping back on ears, and I think the kernel weight is going to be lower just because it's really sped up the development of the crop. We have fields now that maybe are only a week or 10 days away from maturity. This cooler weather we've had lately has helped, I think, to slow things down and improve our prospects some, but that hot weather, I think, did take its toll on corn yields in particular. One thing that's been good about the hot, dry weather is that it's really kept down the soybean diseases. We just don't see nearly as much disease this year as what we've had some years. And corn, the heat didn't keep down the gray leaf spot. We've had an awful lot of that with the humidity and the heat. That's good for gray leaf spot. And we're seeing some gosses wilt in scattered fields, and that's pretty devastating where it's hit. So it's not real widespread, but there's some hybrids in particular that are vulnerable to it. So I think it's going to be a mixed bag on our prospects. They're going to have some good corn yields out there, some disappointing. Beans, we just really need a rain here soon. I think we have got good potential on the beans, but we could really use a shower here real soon to help fill out those pods.
Jim, you were talking about some numbers earlier that maybe some of these fields are going to be down around 150 where they might have been 200. Is that right?
Yeah, I've been in some fields where there's so much tipping back that at least I was coming up with the yield estimates around 150 or even less, where there would be a field that potentially could go 200. I don't know how typical that is, but I think we're going to have some disappointments out there when people get into some of these fields.
Any practices this year that farmers have tried a little different or kind of on the newer end of things that have panned out or not?
Well, one thing that people are playing around with some of different tillage systems, vertical tillage, is there's some tillage tools out there that are kind of catching on, and I think maybe it's too early to tell yet what how it's going to affect the yields, but that's one thing that's kind of catching on in the areas of vertical tillage.
Mm-hmm. Was this a year to do some to spray a fungicide, you think?
I think in corn it has helped with the gray leaf spot. On a lot of fields I see the lower leaves just covered with gray leaf spot, but then the upper leaves are pretty free of the disease, and it's because they sprayed probably because they sprayed a fungicide. So I think on the corn it's probably paid. I'd be surprised if we're going to see much payment on the soybeans because we just haven't had a lot of foliar diseases, at least late in the season. Okay. So I'd be surprised if it's going to pay on the soybeans, but probably on a lot of cornfields it will.
Okay.